Then you get traded early on in your career, or kind of later
Midway
in your
through.
career, midway
7,
through,
8 years in, yeah.
to the Golden State Warriors. Now, at that time you got traded, did you envision yourself winning a championship there?
No, no way. No way. So I put in a trade request silently. I didn't do it through the media, but I felt like Milwaukee at that point was a revolving door. No, we couldn't get any stability. We finally had a good year, I think, in 2009-10. That was my best year individually.
Yeah,
I
all
made
NBA
all
13.
NBA.
Yeah.
You know, every stat, I've been watching on Instagram. And we finally had a good team. We were 6th seed. We went 7 games with Atlanta. I think I didn't play in that series because I broke my elbow, but I thought we were starting to put together. And the next season, they bring in 8 or 9 new players again. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Like,
And you were trying to build like fan presence there. There was that time you were like
Squad 6.
You get squad 6 in
it
the
was
stands.
awesome. It was the best
where
thing
you
ever.
bought tickets for fans to come down because Milwaukee, it's cold. It's hard to get people to
Yeah,
games.
100%.
You kind of started this kind of like trend to get people. You know, you bought what 100+ tickets.
100 tickets every game. The only thing you had to do was just act like as loud and act a fool, and it became its own little identity. It was awesome, man. Like they started these group of people. They would meet at 5 o'clock for a 7 o'clock game and write shit about opposing players and have puns and chants and stuff. We had opposing because no one did it in the NBA, right?
Yeah.
So we had opposing team players flip them off, get mad at them because they were like getting in their heads. So
That's an awesome atmosphere. That's kind of
awesome.
gone from sports.
Yeah,
today
it was
too.
awesome. But yeah, back to the Milwaukee thing. So then 2 years after that year, I was like, look, man, like ship sailed. I think like let's just move on from each other amicably. And they were like, oh, we're not going to trade you. This is after the lockout year. You know, well, you would get good value back at that time. You're a top 5 big. We're not going to get good value. We're not going to trade you. 2 weeks later, I break my ankle. GM's on the hot seat, coaches on the hot seat. So they're like, fuck, like he's out for the season. So then they then
Bite the bullet.
that moved me from Monte Ellis. I get to Golden State, and they're just as bad as Milwaukee. It's probably even worse. Of a revolving.
But you're in
door.
San Fran.
I think-
nice
Yeah,
location.
well, Oakland.
Oh yeah, at the time. Yeah.
Nah, but decent. I loved it there, but the franchise was it.
Yeah, that like 2008 to 2013 period.
Awful.
I think they were the worst team in the NBA.
Yeah, real bad. It was revolving door. There was no stability. It was, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then, you know, the next season we have a great season. Small tweaks. We get Iguodala, who was huge for us. Great presence. They started part luck and part recruiting, part not. But good people in the locker room, good players, people that understood roles. People like myself and Andre, who at a point in our career were like, hey, I'm happy to play a role. Like Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, like
Let them
cool.
take over.
Yeah, like I'm not going to worry about, hey, I was 15 and 10 in Milwaukee. I want my touches when you got Steph and Klay on your team, right? So guys like Andre, myself, David Lee, we all bought into that. We drafted well, Draymond Green, Harrison Barnes, Spencer Sealy, and then, you know, shit, within 3 years, we got a championship. When I got there, I was like, no chance. Like,
How much of an influence do you think you were on that team? I know Draymond's come out at one point in time and said how influential you were on his defense in the post. You know, you would take him aside and, you know, teach him some things that he probably would never have done before in his like career defensively. How influential were you on that team?
Yeah, I think that's your duty as a veteran. Once you're a 7, 8, 9, 10-year guy, your duty is to then help the next generation. And I had a guy named Irvin Johnson, not Magic, Irvin Johnson, the center. They had him on the squad, and he was towards the end of his career. Couldn't really move at that point in his career, but they signed him to mentor me, and he was that for me. He'd sit on the back of the bus. He'd sit behind me on the bus when we're going to the hotels and read me scouting reports about how you're playing this big. He does this. Watch his left shoulder, likes to spin. And then he showed me a lot of things on the court. And coming from college, you can't use your hands in the post. You got to like chest up everything. In the NBA, you're allowed to use your hands. So once he taught me that, I was like, this is really useful. I did the same thing to Draymond. I saw Draymond comes into camp and he's trying to chest guys in college. I'm like, you can't do that in the NBA, man. Like, they can spin off you. It's going to put you in the basket. Yeah. So then I said, you can get away with all this. Oh, shit. Like, oh, wow. And now he's an all-league defender. So it's your duty. And I think Draymond's now doing that to the next generation.
But he's also
Albeit a little bit more with Jordan Poole, probably a bit more physical than we like. But yeah, no, it's your duty to do that, I think, as a veteran.
And then you guys get Steve Kerr, transform the offense, and then 2015 you beat LeBron in the NBA Finals. What was that like? Like that's got to be top of the world.
Yeah, crazy. Like I said, because we weren't expected to do it. Like it's just we were built. We're one of the few teams of the last X amount of years that was built organically. Like wasn't
Through the draft.
Yeah, I mean later on they got KD and that was non-organic.
It wasn't a
but
super team when you won the
yeah,
championship.
like we were just kind of built up through the draft. We made some trades, myself and Andre. We, you know, a new coach and just kind of went like that. And then like we started the season, we had aspirations to obviously go second, third round because the year before we lost to the Clippers in 7 in the first round. So like if we get to the second round of conference finals, great year. And then we're in a championship series and we're like, holy shit, we've got a chance to win this thing. And we end up winning it. So really kind of full circle moment, man. Like, and to win a championship, You look at how many players have a championship ring. It's 12 or 15 every year, and generally that team's probably going to win 2 or 3 out of that decade, or usually goes back to
They
back
dominate,
or 3.
yeah.
Yeah, so Golden State won 4 in or 3 in 10 years, right? So then you're in an elite group of guys, right? 15 out of 450 players, pretty impressive.
Wow. Hall of Fame worthy stuff.
Probably not.
Oh, they give it out to a lot worse.
Yeah.
They do.
Now, the following season, you guys have the best regular season record.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And you make your way to another NBA Finals. This is the finals where, LeBron James comes back from 3-1 down. But what a lot of people don't look at is what they point the 3-1 loss to was it Draymond being injured?
He got suspended in that game.
So he got suspended for the nut shot, right? The kick to the nuts. But you got injured in that series, in Game 5, which was almost the turning point. If Andrew Bogut plays that series, do you rewrite history?
Look, I think that's a factor. The Draymond thing is a factor. I think our kind of rotation got smacked out of whack. First with Draymond being out. I get hurt in Game 5. Now Festus has to start, hasn't played a lot of minutes. It just threw everything out of whack. And then because it was 3-1, it got to 3-2, they stole momentum. And that's the beauty.
Yeah. They get the Game 6 home game.
Of a seven-game series, that's the beauty of it. It's not over, we get 4 wins. And they stole momentum. You got to give them credit. A lot of things went their way. Should the league suspended Draymond? It's questionable.
Definitely
LeBron did stand over him and all that. And it was a kind of a nut shot, but he was getting up off the floor.
Yeah.
Contentious issue there, but you gave them credit. They stole the series. But, a lot of little things played into that. And I know I kind of was reading LeBron really well in the paint and kind of somewhat stopping him. I knew when he was turning the corner on perimeter, he was looking for me because he knew I was coming to try to contest and block his shot. And then I noticed with me out of that lineup, he was on the rim.
Well, that's when he started scoring, like averaging 40 points a game.
A lot of his stuff was outside the paint early on in that series and jumpers and threes, and then he was on the rim consistently Game 6 and 7, and that definitely made a difference.
Being injured obviously would have stung. Then losing the series would have killed the team. Then you get traded in the off-season to accommodate Kevin Durant. That obviously would have hurt a lot, but did you kind of think, NBA is a business, I understand the move, or were you pretty dirty about it?
No, I understood. Look, as harsh as it was, I kind of knew, I heard the KD rumblings even before it happened, and I'm like, shit, I'm going to be the odd man out here. It's probably going to be me or Andre for our contracts, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I would have traded myself for KD. Like, it's Kevin Durant.
Mikal Bridges just said the same thing.
Yeah, you make that move, right? Like and it gave them another 2 championships. But I got a pay rise out of it because I ended up getting traded to Dallas, and Texas has no state taxes, so I made another $1.5 million just on the trade.
Not bad.
So it wasn't all bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, no sour grapes. I wasn't happy at the time just because not so much of can't believe they traded me. I was like, man, I just left the team's probably going to win another couple of championships to go to Dallas, who's pretty shit.